What is up, everybody? My name is Kayla, and today I am coming at you with a review of some fishing items that I recently purchased off of Temu. These items weren't purchased together, they were purchased at a separate time, but I figured I would do kind of a bulk review for people who are maybe like me and really enjoy fishing and angling, but don't always have the money to spend on the gear that typically you have to use with fishing. As we all know, everything has kind of jumped up in price lately, but fishing gear and lures in particular have recently gone up quite a bit in price. So I figured this could be a good review to maybe help people out if you're indecisive on whether or not you want to bite the bullet on buying something on Temu. So we're going to start out here with this little set that I got. These items came together in a set. First of all, you got this little guy here, so if you want to attach any of the items to your tackle box or your backpack, you can do that. The second item that we got here, so there's actually 4 items in total, but I count these as one because they're the same thing. And these are hook removers. You've got a light, thin metal that it's made out of. The grip itself is plastic. And this hook here, the hook remover itself, is actually a lot thicker than this metal itself, which I think that's the important part. You want that to be stronger, obviously, because it's for taking the hook out. I'll show you how it works here with this extra wide gap hook I have here. Kind of just come around and pull it up, and as you can see, the hook goes into these little grooves. It's got a little bit of wiggle room, but all in all, I mean, I can get some pretty good pull force on this hook. So I think that would be really good for people who are maybe younger anglers, like kiddos who are just starting out, maybe are a little afraid to put their hand in the fish's mouth. Or maybe if you're even an older angler whose hands just don't work anymore that well, you can't really get the wet hook out of the fish's mouth. I think this would be a great tool for somebody in that situation. But besides that, it's just pretty handy, I think, especially if you've got a fish who's maybe hooked a bit deeper. You can kind of get down in there better with this than your hands necessarily, or a pair of pliers like this. You got these thick-nosed pliers. But moving on with the pliers, the last thing that this kit came with is pliers. And size-wise, they are pretty similar to your traditional, set of pliers. The handle is maybe a little bit smaller, which that works great for me because I have tiny little hands, but if you're someone with bigger hands, it might feel a lot smaller to you. Press these together and undo that little latch there, and they open, so they do lock, which is great. They came with this little camouflage case here. It's got some Velcro there. You can put them in. Specs of the pliers, you've got this plastic black right down there, and then this handle is rubber, so it's gripped. You've got your little spring in the middle, your lock. Up here, we have a ring split, so if you want to remove hooks or add hooks to any lures, you can use that to do that. We also have a line cutting portion down at the bottom here. One side is serrated, the other is not. And then we just have some little grooves in there and kind of some, I don't know if you can see that, for better grippage, for if you're removing the hook with the pliers, so you can use these for that as well. They're very thin, so I don't think they'd have an issue getting down a fish's gullet. So that is the first item that came as a kit. So all in all, everything you get is right here. And this kit was $5. So, I mean, you go to like a Bass Pro Shop, Walmart, I mean, you're looking at $10, $15, maybe even $20 for these items. So I would definitely say that that item is worth it in particular. The next item that we have here was actually a mystery item. So when you order this item in particular, you can get one of a couple of different things, but I got what I was hoping for. I really needed lip grips, so that's what this is. We've got rubber on the handle here. This part is plastic, but this is rubber, and it's gripped. You've got a little thing here for putting it around your wrist if you need to. They open well. The bearings work great. And they've got a good clamp. I mean, they're pretty darn strong. And obviously that's metal. Forgot to mention that, but that is metal. And really overall, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I had they were like $12 lip grips from Walmart, and again, this item was as well only $5, and these feel just as good as the one that I paid $12 for at Walmart. So it's really the same item. If you wanted, you could even honestly put some like little rubber caps on there if you did want to make it a little softer on the fish, because I will say these are just straight metal. So if you want to be a little bit more delicate on the fish, you could probably do that. But all in all, again, for $5, I mean, you can't beat that. Now we're going to get into the fun part. Well, what I think is the fun part, and that is our lures and our terminal tackle, which we only have one piece of terminal tackle today, so we'll start with that. This item, I will clarify, I biffed a little bit. I ordered the 1 gram size, not realizing just how small that would be, so I did reorder the 10 gram size. And those look a lot bigger, and I look forward to those coming in, because these, although they're small, work great. And what these are Ned Rig jig hooks. And I mean, yeah, they're made of metal, obviously, and I mean, darn, they're really reasonably sharp. Like, I mean, that'd have no problem catching a fish. Bigger sizes obviously would be better for bigger fish, but I mean, this hook, you could use to catch crappie, you could use it to catch bluegill. I mean, heck, you could even catch a small bass with this. But yeah, overall really good quality. And it came with quite a few hooks. This item was $1.50. And what I did here was I rigged up. Now the soft plastics on these did not come from Temu. These are Zoom lures, but what I had was these worms here. That's what they look like. And what I did was I cut that in half, and for this one, I trimmed up the tail a little bit, and threw it on there, and I mean, it looks great. Honestly, the rig holds the bait real well without any slipping. I don't know if you can see that, but that little tip on the back here helps with that, kind of digs in so that it doesn't slide off as easy. And then for different presentation, just in case the whole curly tail isn't your jam, you can absolutely use the top half of a worm as well. It doesn't have to be this worm in particular, whatever worm tickles your fancy. But as you can see, I mean, I think that looks great. I honestly think a crappie would smash that. I'd eat it if I was a crappie, right? And also, one more piece of presentation for this hook that actually goes into our next lure. This soft plastic was purchased from Temu. It came with 5 pieces, and I have it rigged 2 ways. This is with the little Ned rig, just to show that you can, I mean, even being that small, they are really versatile. You can put quite a few different things on there that I think would work. But let's take a closer look at these baits themselves. So this is like a chartreuse green. I will say, I ordered black and chartreuse. I did not get that. I got chartreuse in a different type of green. But overall, I mean, for these were $1.70 for 5 soft plastics, and they also came with a jig head that we'll look at in a minute. these are the soft plastics themselves. They've got a little paddle tail. And this is the jig head that they come with. Now, I had it on one of them here, but we'll go ahead and take it off so that you can see. And I mean, these hold up really well. I mean, I have rehooked this thing multiple times, and you can't even tell the hook was in there, so that's really good. A lot of times soft plastics, if you have to fiddle with them, they tear super easy, like Senkos. So that's one thing I'll say about this, is they feel very sturdy, and they can handle some fiddling around on the hook. But this is the jig head that these swim baits came with, and it's actually got an extra hook connection here, so if you wanted to add like a treble hook or something to this, you could. I personally prefer not to use treble hooks unless I have to. The next two lures here that I have, the last two items, they are treble hooked baits. So do with that what you will. If you would prefer to add a treble hook to this as well, you could, or even if you wanted to add like a little spinning spoon, you could. And this feels exactly like a jig head you'd get from Bass Pro or Walmart. It's just as soft. The metal feels just as heavy duty. I mean, it's got some cool little eyes in there. For $1.70 for, you know, 5 swim baits and you know, a big old jig head, you can't really beat that. So I would say, yeah, that's a decent. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, even if you only catch 1 or 2 fish, like, still, they're like $1.25, $1.70. And our next bait here is our imitation Whopper Plopper spinner bait here. Now, this bait came with 2 treble hooks on it originally. This is the original second hook that came on it. I did use the pliers from earlier in the video to remove this hook, because like I said, I really prefer not to use treble hooks unless I absolutely have to, if that's what the lure requires. And when you're fishing with Whopper Ploppers, a lot of times people will notice that this back tail hook can cause a lot of unnecessary trauma to the fish. So it can get hooked up in their gills, it can get, you know, hooked up on their sides. I once had an experience with a topwater popper that was double treble hooked, one on the tail, one on the tummy, and the bass actually grabbed the one on the tummy, but the back treble hook got stuck into the side of the bass. So I was able to get that out. The bass was fine, swam off okay, but it did have a little bit of a gnarly hook mark in the side. So a lot of people actually do this to their Whopper Ploppers. You can even replace that back hook with a circle hook if you wanted to, like an inline hook. Some people do that, but I think I'm just going to leave it like this. But we'll get into actually talking about the bait itself. So the camera's not picking it up very well right now, but it is like a very light green. It's like, it's very similar, well, I guess not, it's a little lighter than the green in the bottom of that bait. And it's got, yeah, those really cool shiny eyes that you just know the fish love, sends that sparkle in the water. And this guy, I haven't been able to test it at the pond yet, or at the lake, but I did do a bathtub test, and this spins decently, even when moving slow, so I think really cranking it in, this would get fine action. I mean, and it looks, I mean, pretty darn good. I took a picture of this on the Google image search to look for similar baits, and I mean, I was seeing similar baits going for well over like $20. This was $3. So, you know, I'd been looking for a Whopper Plopper for a while, but they're just so expensive. I didn't really want to bite the bullet on it. So I cannot speak to how well this catches fish. But I will say it looks really good. It looks darn near like, you know, those $20 ones. So, yeah, for $3, you can't beat it. It's pretty decently sized. That's it on my hand for better comparison. It's a little longer than the handle of the fish lip grips. So yeah, I mean, like I said, $3, you can't beat it. Now, I have saved my favorite item for last year. We have one more item before we get to what I think is the piece de resistance. But yeah, here we have some. I opened it, didn't come like that. Just for clarification, this did come sealed. And this is some soft plastic minnow is what I'd call it. They look like minnows. They've got that little split tail, like you can see with the power bait minnow here. They are a bit smaller lengthwise than a power bait minnow, but they are thicker widthwise. So do with that information what you will. But I mean, these things, they feel great. I haven't put any on a hook yet, but I mean, they feel like they're made out of really nice rubber, or plastic, as you'd put it. They have like sparkles in them, and we've got a black up on the top here, and this is just clear, but with that silver glitter, it makes it like shimmery and silvery. And it's got little eyes on it there. You could probably put this on a jig head if you wanted, or maybe even a bigger Ned rig, like however you want to set it up. It's got kind of like a flatter front here. It's not quite as tipped as the power bait minnows. This is kind of square, whereas this is like flat and triangular, I guess is the best way to put it. About the length of my pointer finger, size-wise, and you get a good amount of bait in this package. This package was $1.50, and let's see, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I have one already in my tackle box, so that's 11 soft plastics for $1.50. Really can't beat that. Obviously, I know that some places sell, you know, soft plastics but I mean, for a soft plastic minnow, like you can sometimes get like Ozark Trail soft plastics for around that price, but I mean, when you're looking at like a power bait minnow, that's like $4 or $5. So those I would say are definitely worth the $1.50. Again, I haven't used those ones in particular yet, so I don't know how well they catch fish. I do plan on making an updated video once I actually really get all of these lures out in the water, so that I can give a better review on how they actually work to catch fish. This is more of just like, how do they look? How much were they? Do I think that it was worth the price overall? Pretty much. So now we've gotten to our last bait. And this is a bait that I have been wanting to try for quite a while and never got around to. This bait was a little over $3. I forget exactly how much over $3, but it was just a little over $3. And that is this guy here. So this guy I tied on and put in the tub, and when I tell you, action was beautiful. Like when you're walking it, it swims just like a fish. They do have different colors. They have like a, that's the same for all of the baits except for these guys. These came in one color. But like these guys had like 4 or 5 different color options. This one had 3 or 4 different color options, and the Whopper Plopper also had like 4 or 5 different color options. So these were just my personal choice of color. I've had a lot of luck with white lures in the area that I live in. Like white, silver, chartreuse. Like, fish in my water seem to like brighter colors. They're not much a fan of like the natural colors. But yeah, this guy is beautiful. I'll really give you a good look at it. It's made out of plastic, obviously hard plastic, but you can see it's detailed here. Lighting isn't the best, I'm sorry about that. We're just getting started out. But it's got fins there. The joints feel really secure. It doesn't wobble in a way that it's not supposed to. And it absolutely has beautiful eyes. I mean, the video doesn't do it justice. The way that they like glitter in the light, like they super reflective. And obviously it's got your line attachment. And now this is one of these baits that I was talking about. I don't know if I'm going to take the second treble hook off of this bait or not. I need to do a little bit more research, but chances are I will end up removing the tail treble. Because just like with the whopper plopper, what I mentioned earlier, a lot of times, bass in particular, your main bite is going to be on the belly because they're coming up to grab it. Obviously, sometimes that can be an exception. If you've got one coming from behind, it might take the tail. So you might hook up a little bit less fish if you do take off the second treble hook. But if you're worried about harming the fish, you know, any more than just a simple hook through the lip does, I would recommend and suggest removing the tail treble hooks specifically. It just, you know, it helps keep it from getting double hooked or, you know, it getting a hook to the gill, especially with these baits that kind of, you know, flex. If a little bass that thinks it's too big for its britches bites this and then this comes around and it hooks it in the side, yeah, it can be a not fun experience, especially if you are catch and release. You don't keep the fish like I do. I personally fish catch and release. I don't eat fish. I just really enjoy catching them and looking at them and admiring them. You know, I think they're awesome animals. But overall, for a little over $3, I mean, you can't beat this. You know, a lure like this at Bass Pro, I can only imagine how much it would cost. The tail is actually like made of this like fur, you can see. So it's really like, it's got similar like flex, I don't know if you can see that, to like an actual fishtail. And I've never seen that on any other soft plastic before. Not soft plastic, hard plastic lure before. I've really never seen it on any lure before, actually. Honestly. So overall, I think this guy is super cool, super happy with this purchase, and I absolutely cannot wait to get it out to my local pond, because I've caught some 2.5, 3-pounders out of there. My fiance caught a darn near 4-pounder out of the pond that I go to, so I'm hoping that there's some bigger monsters hiding in there, and that maybe these lures can, this lure in particular, can give me a hand with getting that. So all in all, we'll do one more quick recap. I'll show you guys everything all together. But yeah, in general, like just as an overall review, I would say, you know, if you're hesitant about purchasing, you know, fishing items or honestly just any item off of Temu, you know, definitely look at reviews, both on the app and outside of the app. I use Temu a lot. I shop on Temu a lot. And I usually recommend filtering through the reviews. So going, you know, to the rated section in the filters and looking at all of like the 1-star or the 2-star, like, and going up, you know, and seeing the difference, you know, how many people didn't like it, how many people did like it. Look for photos and pictures, you know, because sometimes there are so many different sellers on Temu. It's not like everything on Temu comes directly from Temu. They have a lot of different sellers on there. So it is always good to do that when you're purchasing anything online, not even just items from Temu. But overall, I would say it's great value. I mean, great bang for your buck. I mean, I think I spent $20 all combined, if that, for all of these items. So, I mean, you really, yeah, just can't beat that. I mean, for this much stuff. So, one more look at this stuff for you guys, so you can see it all together. In total, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 items in total, with everything. So, I mean, 10 items, $20. You know, can't beat it. So overall, all in all, I would say, yeah, you can definitely get some decent fishing lures off Temu if you're trying to save some money, or just don't want, you know, to spend that type of money on fishing lures if you can't justify it. I would say it's definitely good to at least check it out. You know, can't hurt to check something out. Can't hurt to try it, especially when you're talking like $1.50 to $3 an item. I mean, worst case, it doesn't work for you. Best case, you catch something great, right? So a lot of fishing is trial and error. If you have watched this video all the way to the end here, I greatly appreciate you. And a little bit of an update real quick before we leave. This channel in the past hasn't really been much of anything. I made it years back when I was just a kid, and I posted random videos, but I do plan on starting to post consistent fishing content, you know, going out to the ponds, catching some fish, you know, going into bait shops, all of that fun stuff, and also lure reviews like this, or just, you know, any type of fishing product review. So I plan on becoming much more consistent when the spring starts. I live in Massachusetts, so right now it's still a bit too cold to go out and fish. Ponds are still frozen over and whatnot. But come spring, I will be posting consistently, at least 1 to 2 times a week. So if you're interested in fishing content and you want to stick around with me on this journey, I greatly appreciate that. But if not, if you just wanted to learn about some Temu fishing lures, thank you for watching just this video. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a great night, a great day, a great afternoon, whatever time it is for you where you are, and I wish you all the best luck in your future fishing trips. So, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.